extra. Absolutely glorious in how much you must love the double-edged 2 extra monitors on top of the 1 monitor that we're staring at right there. Did I hit the start broadcast button?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. So everybody caught that lecture. And I don't know what's going dust flying in there. We're live.
We are.
It's Patron Hangout time. It's a week later this week because of the holiday. So, and that holiday, of course, is Rusev Day. What? Am I a little excited? Am I excitable? What's going on? What's so funny, Amber? Why are you laughing? All right. So what is this show? This show is the Patron Hangout. This is where we spend a little bit of time chit-chatting with our patrons, and answer their questions. Now, this whole episode, this whole show is reserved strictly for our patrons or anybody who provides us with a super chat. If you provide us with a super chat on the YouTube chat while you're live, you are a patron for a day and get to ask us questions on this particular show. If you are a patron, you can hop in through the link that we sent you through the Patron Discord, through the Patron wall, through the Patreon message that we sent you. We sent it to you 3 different ways. So also, but if you don't want to join us live, ask us questions on the Patron Discord under the Patron Hangout questions tab, and we will talk. What do I need help with, Nathaniel? It's Rusev Day. Wrestling fans will get that, and wrestling fans know. They know.
Don't go dissing my Pokemon's team.
Look, everybody I know from Mystic and Valor is an EV trainer. Get a life.
Instinct is where it's at.
Because instincts are chill, bro. Total chill, bro.
Also, that sweater is awesome, and it looks good on me, so...
Deal with it. Zapdos. Don't forget, Zapdos has the advantage over all of the other legendaries. Electric beats flying. Boom! But Nathaniel does have an actual question that he posted in Patreon Discord that gives us a little time to answer. While we wait, one of our patrons should be coming a little later. If you're hopping in later, guys, come on in. We love y'all anytime you feel like it. This is your hangout. We'll chit-chat our way, and we'll over-answer any questions that we get. That said, will we be seeing you two in Philadelphia? Yes, we are coming to Clix World Championships in Philadelphia. It's a compact schedule though. Like if you
as so much goes into the 2 or 3 days that you have.
You have 2 days to become world champion. Day 1, try to qualify either by teams, getting in the top 16 teams, or by getting in the top 50% of singles. Now, one thing I did notice, if you actually run the numbers, by the top 16 of the Team Worlds qualifying, that means 48 players are qualified courtesy of that.
Yeah.
Then it's the top 50% of whatever's left over from that.
Then not to mention everybody that has previous qualifications, like the 8 people that we did from Canadian Nationals.
And the U.S. Nationals.
And the U.S. Nationals had their top 50, so they have another 50 people in there.
Yep. So was it 8? No, I think Canadian Nationals did 8. It was the top 8 because 4 of them were pre-qualified from U.S. Nationals, or something like that.
Yeah, it was still 8 people, but it got passed down to the 10th place because of everybody that was pre-qualified.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be a compact time. It's gonna be a lot of time. What I do like is, as board game fans, and we're going with board game fans, we get Sunday to go board game hunting because we have most of the con exclusives at this point, with the exception of maybe Orion and what was the other one? What is the other winnable that we're missing?
Do we have the Hawk Girl?
That's the one. Hawk Girl. Orion and Hawk Girl. I gotta get my hands on.
Yeah, I'm not even really looking to do battle royales. I'm more interested in spending my time looking at the rest of PAX.
Yeah, because it's not just PAX. It's PAX Unplugged, which is a board game convention. We have to be very it's hard to stress that. It's it's PAX. The tickets are going to be sold out. Well, no, it's not PAX. It's PAX Unplugged.
Yeah,
it's
I'm excited. Honestly, I'm going to go into Team Worlds and see how well my team does. Hopefully we do great because I'd love for our team to be in top 16. But
keep going.
I don't even know. Like, if I don't make it into the top 16 on Team Worlds, I honestly don't know if I'm going to go into qualifying for Worlds.
Yes, you are.
I know everybody's saying that. They're like, no, you're just playing. Just do it. I'm like, but I don't know if I want to. They're like, yes, you'll want to.
You know what,
just
Amber? It will be where you get the last ID card we're missing.
True.
Because we are missing that Joker ID
That's
card.
true. At least I'll do that. And I'll have played. But then I can have the Saturday to myself to go play board games.
Mm-hmm. I'm messaging
exciting.
Tom right now to find out if he's going to be at Worlds himself. So if I...
well, as far as I know, my girls are going. So I think we're all going there together. So we can do Call Me or Clix again.
I'm looking to reform the original cast of Team Saurier.
And then I think Asia, she was supposed to give us the buttons. We ended up not getting the buttons at Nationals.
Calm Your Clix?
No, she did Calm Your Clix. And then the newest one she made was Clix Before Dicks. I was like, yay!
Love it. It's pretty fantastic, actually. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun whenever we travel.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm looking forward. Philadelphia is a new place for me. Like, I've driven through Pennsylvania at best. I haven't been to Philly, so this is going to be a new experience for me. It is exciting to go back to the States now that now that I have the identification you need, which isn't just a driver's license or photo ID anymore. So it's exciting times, to say the least. I think
I just have to remember to use my passport as my ID because my passport's under my maiden name and all my other identification now is under my married name.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Should be.
You just have to get over the border.
Yes, it's really all that matters is getting through the border, and then all they look at is my passport anyways. So,
all right. And Nate wants us to join him at Gino's and Pat's. Like that. There's a Gino's and Pat's down the street for me. What are you talking about, man?
That sounds like pizza. Is that like, pizza?
Gino's is a pizza place.
It sounds like it's pizzas.
What other things? All right, but he did also wonder, or he said that his TNG Clix moved to mid 2019 and made his heart sink.
I know. It got pushed back. But
why does everybody think a game?
Thing.
Yeah, I was saying when it comes to a game thing, delays are good.
Yeah.
That means they now have no excuse. It better be amazing. That's it.
And it's not like the usual. It's not like the shipping delays that we used to get from WizKids, where it's like, oh, it got pushed back a month because we couldn't get it overseas in time. This is like it's getting pushed back like 8 months because they want to figure out design and their
because this is going to be the Star Trek that sells.
Yeah.
All right, but he has an actual question as opposed to a statement. Is with the WWE announced, what other non-standard licenses do you think we'll see in the future? First of all, best signing ever, Rusev Day. I'm so excited for it. I don't know if tomorrow we're going to go more into it. I'm going to be wearing another wrestling shirt tomorrow for the show specifically. I am so hype for this set. Just all the sets that are possible from it. We might even just get a Raw and SmackDown released simultaneously packs, which would be cool. And just for the modern stuff, I still think I have a prediction that I'm going to send Pat an article that I'm almost finished writing for. It's going to be a free article on Majestics. But spoiler alert, I got an article about this already. This is how hyped I am for this set. It's hype level here. But since now, I do want to mention there are WWE comics. Boom Studios makes a fantastically drawn. I just do have to read it still. Shop that I want to read now, just because that way I can turn around and say, "Here, see this weird thing? That's pro wrestling."
I almost wish I had actually picked up that issue that had Bailey on the front for Alexis.
Why not? I mean, at this point, I want to read it because it's about to become HeroClix, and now I can say I collect a comic book also related to HeroClix that happens to be based on pro wrestling. But with that said, what other non-standard licenses would you like to see in the future? I think it goes without saying that Doctor Who would make for very cool HeroClix.
That would be rather fun.
This is Doctor Who has
makes for the most ridiculous
so
shifting focus.
much That would like the biggest. It's actually the only shifting focus character where it is not legal for you to have an entire sideline for the character.
Yeah, it's true because there's more than 9 incarnations of him.
We're on the. We're about to move into the 11th Doctor, aren't we?
No, I think
wasn't Capaldi the 10th?
No, he was like the 13th.
Oh, what? See,
Eccleston's was 9.
Yeah, so Eccleston's 9, Tennant's 10.
Matt was 11. Capaldi was 12.
So we're about to go to 13. Okay, yeah. So it's 13 sideline, 12 sideline characters. You legally cannot make a team with the Doctor Who Clix unless they say this does not count towards your sideline numbers.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
That would make it even too OP. And you know, every single one will do something neat, and David Tennant will be the second best, and Chris Eccleston will be the best. Anybody who calls William Hurt the Battle Doctor is drunk. Chris Eccleston fought. He fought.
It's true.
Like he had the best face. I want to go
back and rewatch the Eccleston and Tennant years.
Like Eccleston, when the finest Doctor Who episode I think of Eccleston's run was when they found out. Oh yeah, okay, the War Doctor, which will be a con exclusive anyway.
True.
Right. The episode where he finds out that the humans just have a Dalek, and he's like, "You got to get rid of that. You got to get rid of that now, no, please."
It needs to die. Go away.
He was also really good at like making it look like he was fixing but breaking everything at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like he'd be repairing something, there'd be wires everywhere, and I thought that was a cool thing about that particular incarnation of the Doctor. It's just like always repairing something but making a mess of that repair. Mm-hmm. Anyway. Doctor, I mean, like, even just beyond the Doctors themselves, you have the Daleks, you have the Cybermen, both generic, so you can make a bunch of them, and you can also make unique versions of each of those.
I want the Ood.
The Companions. The Companions can each be their own little support characters, right?
Oh, yeah. There's you get so many of them.
Yeah. There's almost more Companions than Doctors.
Well, there is, because almost every Doctor had up to 2 companions.
Yeah. Let's see. What other things can you do with Doctor Who? They're not paying you, ignore it. Unless it says super chat across there, you ignore that chat. Sorry guys, we love you in the chat. Use it to talk, but we're not we unless you're super chatting, we can't answer your questions or address you. Because this is the thing.
That's funny.
Anyway, what is your thoughts on or did I take it from you?
No, I don't know. At this point, I'm just okay. Let's just stalk Justin Zirin's Facebook because he seems to just want to tease us.
No. We got to get Justin Zirin to stalk our Facebook and start reading into it. Like, okay, we got to do that thing that people do with Shigeru Miyamoto. Because I don't know if you guys know this about Shigeru Miyamoto. He's one of the lead game designers in at Nintendo. And at one point, just before they released Nintendogs, in an interview, he had in passing mentioned to somebody, "Yeah, we just got a dog in the family, and that's been a great experience." And EA or Ubisoft, I'm not sure which one it was, in all of their nonsense, jumped on there and said, "Shigeru Miyamoto talked about dogs. Let's make a dog game now." And around the same time, Nintendogs and these other games, I don't know, Pets or something.
Yeah, that was
Must Love Pets or something ridiculous. I don't know. It was another more dog raising simulators to come out, and as a result, Nintendo turned to Shigeru and said, "Shut up." No more talking to the press. So what I'm saying is, every time Justin Zirin makes a comment on one of our Facebook posts, we shouldn't, but we're going to start reading too much into it because was back in July was Slammiversary? Yeah, back in July, myself and Amber went to Impact Wrestling Slammiversary, which is their version of WrestleMania. It's a different company than the WWE, so none of the wrestlers are going to be there. But when we started this wrestling event was at a nightclub. We had to try to find a place where we were going to watch the show from. And we had this really great balcony seat before we got politely asked to move. When we moved, we got terrible seats. And from terrible seats, we got the better seats because management saw that we had a kid with us. Anyway, the point is, Amber took this beautiful picture from the balcony of the Slammiversary ring. And she took the picture because our daughter noticed that the wrestling ring looked like our HeroClix boxing ring because it had yellow ropes for Slammiversary and black turnbuckles and everything like that. And Amber posted a picture. And then Justin Zirin said, wow, it's cool because that wrestling ring even has grid formation. And then I think it was Monday, they announced at WWE.
No, but even more, because after he was it even has a grid. That's awesome. And then he was like, WWE HeroClix for the win, don't I wish?
Yeah. And so this past Friday, it was Friday they made the announcement.
Yeah.
They announced that WWE has made a deal with WizKids Games to make HeroClix, Dice Masters, and other games. I want to see what other games come out of this license agreement. I just hope they're really good design games. So I don't want to just be buying it because it's WWE license. I'm that kind of sucker, right? But if we see this message and then we pull this Facebook post up immediately after and start badgering him, it's like, you cheeky little bugger. Did we do this? He's like, no. We were about we were in the final draft of the final discussions with them. Or were we?
And then of course he goes further on to tease me, and he's like, now you'll never know if what I say is prophetic or I'm just teasing you. And I'm like, no.
Immediately broke us.
It's like, so now we just have to, like, everything that Justin Zirin says to us, it's just like, oh, is this new HeroClix?
Everything will just be like, that had the word "the" in it. That's The Last Airbender. Yeah, I mean, it was exciting news anyway. And
anyways, as far as a non-standard license, I mean, I know I've talked about getting back into having some video game clicks, and with the Nickelodeon license, we'd like to see like Avatar clicks.
We've said that 1,000 times. Though.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like we've said this so many times, but
try something new, because Doctor Who was a new one for me.
That's true.
Do something new. The fans want something new. And like Amber, wrestling clicks are a thing now. Go crazy. Sorry, I'm just covering her face there. Go crazy. Absolutely nuts. Bonkers.
You know what? We should get like fairy tale clicks to
Boom!
go with.
Well, didn't we have that?
No, well, there was some fairy tale characters in Yu-Gi-Oh, but
is there some fairy tale character? Like, fairy tale's too wide open.
No, but I mean, like, if there's like a twisted fairy tale, like McFarlane's fairy tale, or like like American McGee's Alice, or Xenoscope's fairy tales, like they could do a weird fairy tale way.
Xenoscope's fairy tales.
Comics aren't horrible.
This is what the HeroClix will all look like. They will all look like this.
I mean, but don't they already look like that?
No! They look like this.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Oh, I'm going to a bad place. I
think you're not wrong.
Yeah. All right. So we need another question. Or Amber, it's been a while since you've even been on camera.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to lately?
The kids are back in school. I'm finding my groove again, trying to regain my sanity. So I was supposed to spend this past week cleaning the house. And I instead started watching all of Queer Eye.
It's not even, I don't care that it's a show. I care that not enough. Nathaniel, but thanks for reminding me I need another Red Bull because I'm getting tired.
I don't know where I was going with that.
You've been watching Queer Eye. We're supposed to clean the house and probably do some editing, I'm sure.
Yeah, I probably could have. I do have one more video that needs to be edited. I need to do more filming. I gotta remember, I keep saying that I have 2 episodes that need to film, and I only remember what one of the topics are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what the other topic is, and that's so bad. Because I still have to do locations. And then I feel like there's something else that I need to do.
Yeah, you mean the new map things, right?
Yeah, the new maps. Because I did bystanders.
Yep.
I did the Captain America ruling. And I have to currently edit obscuring terrain, which I have done. And then
so you have the episode, you just have to...
Yeah. It's all filmed. I just have to edit it. And then I know I have to film for locations. And then I can't remember what else I was thinking was all like a new mechanic or something. I don't know. I could probably do a quick little thing on bounty cards.
Yeah, the wanted posters?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That would be a good one.
On a scale of 0 to negative.
A negative 100, how mad are you about a battle world is missing a certain metal-faced character?
Like, we kind of knew it was coming, but we were really, really, really hoping it wasn't.
Do you know what was great? For about 2 weeks on the Metal Lab, I was learning how to say Dr. Doom in different languages.
Yep.
So in order to do the math on how mad I am, it's a mathematical formula. It's -1 times, and in brackets, 1 divided by 0.
Wait, you're not supposed to divide by 0?
If I don't get a Dr. Doom in a Battle World set, I'm dividing by 0. If I don't get my reality, reality doesn't get to exist.
Jason's about to destroy the world, guys.
Nathaniel, put it in your calculator.
He's divided by 0.
It's too late. It's all gonna end. Ugh.
Actually, I think one of the things that I'm a little disappointed in, now that we know for sure what the sub-themes are and the characters that are coming out in it, was there is a very large amount of the storylines that came out of Battle World that were focused around the mutant side of Marvel. And none of those storylines are going to focus in the set. Because apparently X-Men and Avengers don't get to mix and mingle. And this was the perfect chance to do it. I don't know why.
Oh, but Amber, we get 10,000 BC Avengers.
But that wasn't even a Battle Worlds book.
But the chase is Amber.
But they're not.
The chase is Amber.
Like I'm so confused. I honestly thought 10,000 BC was gonna end up being put in with the Earth X set. I didn't realize it was gonna end up being in Battle World until they started putting out previews, because it just doesn't make sense. It wasn't one of the Battle Worlds.
I will accept con exclusive.
Con exclusive Doom.
If that's what I gotta wait for,
it's true.
I'm fine with that.
Well, it's one of those things is that everything is still finicky with the
Yeah.
Everything, it's still finicky with all the licensing. So it's like, as much as we are rejoicing that this Disney Fox deal has been accepted and they're going through the paperwork and everything's being finalized, all the licensees, like, I mean, just as a little timeline of like what we actually do technically have a timeline of, is that we said back in July that Justin Zirin had made a comment about WWE Clix, and he was saying that at that point in time, he was actually in final negotiations of the license. And like, I know that they're really speeding this up to kind of push this out, but we're going to see these like probably late 2019. So like at least a year from when they said that they were going to make it, we're actually going to get the product.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's some mock-ups and proof of concept that they had to provide for any number of the product. Mm-hmm. Like they would have had to do some mock-ups for Dice Masters cards, which I almost guarantee are going to be photographs and then Dice Master stats. That's got to be so easy for them. Yeah. Screenshot in, let's go. Screenshot in, let's go. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful work of cheapness as far as, and like all the wrestlers have their symbols. Just go buy a t-shirt.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody has a logo.
So that's hardly a thing. That's easy. HeroClix probably takes a little bit more work, and we get into that likeness rights thing.
Yes.
Which is why I think we're only going to see gravity feeds at a time of these, because it's going to take, like, they have to go through each and every single wrestler that they make a hero click for and go like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Now, granted, if you've seen the little metal things that they sell, the little metal characters,
you get them for like $1 at
they
Walmart.
can get probably 50 cents if you're talking to Americans.
True. I mean, they sell them for $1 here.
Yeah. They're not expensive, and they're not super beautiful, but they're probably reasonable at enough of a scale. So I'm sure there's some kind of reasonable level. Or maybe WWE has said, no, we take care of all your likeness rights problems.
That's a possibility.
That could be, I don't know what that level of the contract looks like, and I don't feel like going that. I go far into the dirt sheets, man. Like, I listen to some things in pro wrestling right now that just the behind the scenes stuff that make me go, But anyway, yeah, as far as timing is concerned, certain things have to happen, and the Disney Fox can't happen overnight, but it will take like astronomical amount of paperwork, and the finalization of the deal is going, like, all they've agreed to is the price.
Yeah. And I mean, when you look at the fact that Battle World is coming out in a couple of weeks, like, this is a set that they probably made a year ago. Like, when this set was actually made and they did all of the art for it, they designed all the characters, and they put it out to production, it would have been like the Fox Disney deal wasn't even a thing. It was like it was still speculation that, like, it's very possible that they even started making this set before that deal was even on the table.
Yeah. Comcast, like, this could be before Comcast was like, oh, we could buy Fox.
So, I mean, it makes sense that we're not seeing those extra characters in there. It's a real bummer that we're not going to get it.
What irks me is that Battle World was made by the combination of Dr. Doom and Molecule Man.
Yeah.
And Dr. Doom is not going to be in the set. And I almost guarantee some version of Molecule Man is going to be in this set.
Apparently, Chris Star is showing up. But he was in The World of Weird. Is that the right one?
Sure. I've read none of these.
The storyline with they've already said that they were going to do that with Morgan Le Fay.
Gotcha.
Was her storyline, and he shows up in that. So,
I mean, right now my comic books are the Ninja Turtles, the Incredible Hulk, the new series of Judge Dredd that IDW has been doing is actually I read my first 4-issue series of that. It's pretty good, and Ghostbusters of IDW. So, like,
you're not even touching.
I'm touching one.
Levels.
I'm touching one Marvel comic at this point. It's the Hulk. Oh, sorry, 2 with multiple man.
Whenever that shows up.
Yeah. And Old Man Hawkeye.
Yeah.
That I can't wait for that figure to show up in a HeroClix set.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be great.
No.
It's going to be a Hawkeye who has to hit twice in order to hit because he's, spoiler alert, got glaucoma. Well, you know what? In Old Man Wolverine, he was blind, so.
Whatever. Yeah, I don't. Like, this is before
Old Man Logan. Old Man Wolverine. I mean, same thing. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not even touching HeroClix levels of characters at this point anymore, except for the Psychopath Hulk. Like, holy smokes, they've turned the Hulk into like Hannibal Lecter. It's so weird, and like it got even weirder when you find out that the most recent issue. Hey, and Sasquatch is a Canadian staple. No, Marvel, no.
My comics have been very like Wolverine centric lately. Like, I did all of the Hunt for Wolverine, and I'm doing X-23, the new run of X-23, and Exiles, and then I had collected all of the Phoenix Resurrection. But then I'm like currently doing a Raven from DC title. Yep. And then like the other comics I'm collecting right now are Archie Madhouse. So I have Jughead the Hunger and Vampironica.
Honestly, Vampironica is the coolest and most hilarious name I've ever seen.
Yeah. But then also they just introduced a Batman Archie meets Batman 66, and it's the greatest thing ever because it's Archie from the 60s and Batman from the 60s.
Every time Archie does a crossover, it is the most underrated thing in the world. Archie versus Punisher is still probably the best. Like that summer, there were so many crossovers.
Yeah.
There was that summer had Punisher meets Batman, Spider-Man meets Batman. I think this was also The Darkness meets the Hulk. And Archie meets the Punisher. And I read all of the crossovers that year. And Archie meets the Punisher was the best one. Because they made like all of them felt throwaway. It's you go into these issues and it's like, oh, we stumbled across each other. What's going on? Oh, look, we got to fight a thing. Oh, we have a little miscommunication. Like all of them have that storyline, but so many of them feel cynical and uninterested.
Yeah.
Right. Like Punisher, I think it was Punisher or Batman, Spider-Man. Like Carnage and Joker met as the bad guys together. It was like,
crazy.
Whoa, awesome. And then it was just like super cynical, and like the bad guys ended up fighting each other. It's like, all right, cool. Archie was like the Punisher is hunting down somebody who happens to look like Archie.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So like, oh my God, it was such a cool, like they actually made that story work, and it was an actual collaboration between the guys at Archie and the guys at Marvel, the guys working on Punisher, as it were, right? And they collaborated, and like there's prefaces and stuff like that where they're talking about how they chuckled and laughed and like this will never. This is actually pretty good, you know. Like they almost immediately dismissed it at first look, and they're like, hold on a second, we might be onto something. And usually the Archie guys don't let things into their stuff unless they give a damn about it or they're given the reason. Like it's. Anybody can say it, but the guys at Archie Comics do good work. Do great work about their stuff. Like Archie is a good, wholesome comic, and they do that job very well. And Sonic is a good comic in itself, and Mega Man is. I have to read it, but from what I'm hearing, is very true to the themes and everything of Mega Man. So they're a comic company that do a lot of good work. I think they're on par, if not better than. I mean, they've got years of experience over IDW, but. You know, they've got that kind of true to the form, true to the love of the comic nature. So,
and the funny thing is, like, the thing that actually got me back into reading Archie comics, because I read Archie comics as a kid, was they did a small mini series of Betty and Veronica meet Harley and Ivy.
Yep.
And it was just a really wacky, like 6-part thing where Zatanna and Sabrina showed up and a spell went wrong and they switched the bodies, and then like Betty and Veronica were in Harley and Ivy's body and the other way around, and then
it was like Freaky Friday?
Yeah, it was like Freaky Friday, and then they got to figure out how to get themselves back, and then so it was actually it's just like a fun little story. And then I started reading Archie again, but Archie does have its like how DC kind of has Vertigo or did have Vertigo. Archie has Archie Madhouse, which is all of their like their edgy horror titles. So they had Afterlife with Archie, which was zombies. They had The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is all demonic and elder gods.
Where is this book?
Unfortunately I have to get it in trade.
Where is this book?
And then the one that I'm reading, Jughead the Hunger. Jughead is a werewolf and Betty is a werewolf hunter. And then Vampire Veronica is only 3 issues in, and one of like Mr. Lodge's wealthy clients turns out to be a vampire and turns
spoilers.
Veronica. That's like the first issue, like the first panel is Veronica getting turned into a vampire, and now she's like, what the hell do I do? I'm a vampire now.
All right, so now that we've talked about my feelings on Dr. Doom now. Mike has joined the show today. Hey, Mike, guess what? We were on a tangent.
No kidding. Really? You guys?
No.
Unfathomable. It's without fathom. What's that from?
Master Megamind.
That's what it was. All right, Mike. Thanks for joining, and fire away, sir.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late, but you know, like, hey, we got some technical issues and everything. But as I come prepared, even 2 weeks in advance. Look at this. I get, I started one and already I have like 2 pages today. So this is, buckle up, guys. This is going to be a bumpy ride. Alrighty, so I don't know where to start with. Okay, well, have you guys started talking about the big news, or do you want to save that for tomorrow? Or
we have already mentioned
we've briefly touched on it, but if you want to talk about it, I told the guys in the Metal Lab that I'm going to talk about it today if you guys ask. So,
okay, good, because that's what I. Alrighty, so how excited should I be for this? Like this WWE announcement has got me really, really excited for it. I really, really want to see what it's going to be like, but I don't know. Like in all honesty, I haven't watched wrestling in like at least 3-4 years. I've kind of moved past all that. I used to watch it religiously when I was a kid, and everything. I knew all the like Attitude Era guys and everything like that. So my brother's still in it. He wrestles himself, and he's all excited. I told him he's all excited, and like, oh, if they make favorite characters of him, I'm just going to give it to him. But how excited should I be for this? Is there any insider whispers or anything like that as what direction they're going to go into?
Okay, so the way I'm kind of looking at this is it's a mixture of there's work that there's things they can do that are awesome, but at the same time we have to meet our expectations to some level of nonsense. The first thing is pro wrestling is staged and exaggerated, and this is an important element we have to take into account. Because in recent pro wrestling, a man named Braun Strowman has flipped trucks and ambulances and turned over cars like he's the Incredible Hulk or something. Now, we also have to take that edge of reality kind of thing that they're applying and say, well, okay, wrestling exists in its own reality, which is very comic bookish. I've often heard it referred to as anime for nerds. I like to think of it as interactive theater. But either way, both work.
Soap opera for nerds.
Right? So that all comes together in it. We have to meet our expectations on what they can and cannot expect to do. But at the same time, they can get away with murder with some of this stuff. I mean, I'm going to break down and not mention the names of certain wrestlers. I'm just going to talk about what their characters are. And I want you to think about how I'm not talking about a hero clique. Like, there is an undead mortician, a zombie mortician. We call him the Undertaker, right? I'm going to mention names like after you've had a second to think about it. He's got a taller brother who survived him burning his house down. And both of these guys shoot lightning, I want to point out. And that is his brother Kane, who can light things on fire. He can light the ring on fire just on command, right? Like, I understand that wrestling is fake fighting, and the disconnect is right here. They're fake fighting, but they're real kind of people, and we understand that they're people, and we expect them to be fighting realistically. When in reality, if I punch a man and he flies across the ring, nobody's going to touch me after that. But in pro wrestling, I want a piece of that guy now because I'm going to punch him and throw him across the ring. And I'm going to vertically suplex a man. Have you ever tried to vertically suplex a man who didn't want to be vertically suplexed? Right? Or the Irish whip, also known as throwing the guy against the ropes. I want you to take a stranger in a wrestling ring and do that to them without them doing any work for you. But then think about the reality of that. It's like, think of the effort it took you to do that. Now think a pro wrestler pulls a guy and they go run into that rope. What kind of strength does that take? Right? And then all of a sudden it starts to come together like, oh, this isn't realistic at all, which is great. This is comic booky. I can be ridiculous with this. So I am not thinking that they're going to dial back the power in any way, shape, or form. Or if WizKids is watching now and they haven't designed any of this, guys, listen, this stuff isn't realistic. Go stupid with it. The Undertaker shoots lightning. Kane shoots fire. Stone Cold Steve Austin has beer trucks on command. He has beer appear out of nowhere. Can you make beer appear out of nowhere?
No, but that's pretty.
I can.
Perplexing.
Right? Or, there's the ability, the RKO comes out of nowhere. You never see Randy Orton coming when he does it when you're watching on TV. So, I don't know, maybe something's sideline active if this is your last character on the board. RKO out of nowhere! Like,
we all know we can't see John Cena. So.
Okay, that joke's got to stop.
Yeah. Traded stealth right there.
Stealth.
Traded.
But at the same time, why not? It's pro wrestling. You can't see me. It can be anything. It's like if characters outside of 3 squares of John Cena, they can't see him. You got to do this in the ring, sucker. I mean, like I said, there's a 7-foot tall man who flips ambulances. There's a man who hides in the rafters in makeup and is kind of similar to the Crow, and he can beat up 12 guys at the same time. This is Sting from the 1990s, right? There's a man with arms the size of Amber's body who simply just puts his foot out, knocks a guy, and then sits on their face, and he wins. And everybody knows his name. That's Hulk Hogan. Right? He sits his leg on their face, and they go down. These are supernatural abilities. You cannot do this to people. There's a 6'5" man who is billed at 7 feet tall and 500 pounds, who's a legend of the industry and was a great actor in The Princess Bride, who played an actual giant in The Princess Bride. And we refer to him as the Giant, even though he was originally referred to as the Grand Fairy. A little bit of Andre the Giant history for you. There's a Canadian-Scottish guy who's got one heck of a bad attitude and apparently is electricity proof at one point. And he's rowdy, and he's Roddy. He's a piper. There's a man who can make coffee creamer appear out of nowhere while telling you how awesome he is. Ooh, yeah, the Macho Man. He's so strong. Like, these are outrageous characters, so I can expect WizKids to go nuts, and I want them to go nuts, and I don't want them to hold back in any way, shape, or form. I do not want them to accept realities like, there's no way that Stone Cold Steve Austin can damage Superman. Yes, he can, because he beat a 7-foot tall, 500-pound man. Also the Giant. And simply by kicking him in the gut, grabbing him in the head, and plastering their face in his shoulder. And that's the bottom line. Do you think I sold them on it?
I don't know, but I'm just loving listening to you go.
I mean, but like, this is the unreality of wrestling, right? People stay still for stupid things, but people do moves that look cool. You can imagine them hurting, but no place in reality does this exist. And wrestlers don't exist in reality, and that's a disconnect that was created in the early days of wrestling. And this is why I hate Jim Cornette. Because Jim Cornette's like, they're ruining the business by exposing the business. Well, no, the business is fantasy. Let's not kid ourselves. And that, the more outrageous you do, the better it gets. I don't care if I watched a guy flip another dude who grabbed him in the dick. And I don't care that he was ushered into the ring by 8 men dressed as giant penises. That is hilarious, and that is what I am watching. If I'm expected to believe a man eating worms is the scariest thing in pro wrestling, then I think he can beat up Superman. The Boogeyman, for those of you who are not like my wrestling things can get more and more obscure. Santino Marella, a Canadian himself, beat guys by putting a snake sock on his hand and doing this. The Cobra. A man choked people with a sock. Mankind.
Yep.
Anything you wanted to add on there, Amber? What are you expecting out of the Hero Clix?
I'm just gonna say that based on the matches that I have watched in the last 2 years, you can't tell me wrestlers don't have range.
Braun Strowman plus chair versus
anything at you.
Go look up Roman Reigns. Braun Strowman throws chair at Roman Reigns. Actually, I think I shared that on our Facebook. I've shared 2 of wrestlers don't have range posts, and I'm going to do as many as I can get my hands on our Facebook page, because it's just a fun game. Those guys who spit green mist at people, multiple guys. I can't just name one. But if we're going to go WWE, let's go with Tajiri. He's a more recent one. Heck, he might even be in this set. The first set. I'm actually writing a predictions article on what I think the first set's going to be. So I don't want to go too in detail on what I think the first set's going to be. But that will be on the Majestic site for free. You don't need your $3 a month subscription. You know what? It should be a prescription. It's medical. It's medically required for HeroClix players. Tom confirmed, so long as Mike is going, Team Sorry should be back in the game. And just in time for Rusev Day. There's a Russian man with a holiday every day of the year who showed up at WrestleMania in a tank and still lost to the man we can't see. So, I hope I've changed everybody's perspective on how. I'm sorry, okay? I'm very excited. I'm very passionate about this, and perspective is required. I'm gonna need to get like what is it called? No, there's actually a name for it in the microphone.
His microphone has one.
That thing. But yeah. So perspective is required, and I hope I've changed everybody's perspective on pro wrestlers as HeroClix. Hey, Mike.
Alrighty, so
wait, let me just move this soapbox out of the way. All right.
All right, I was gonna save this till a last one, like kind of like a jokey, but now I think I have to use it right off the bat. Amber, are you married to a crazy person? Are you?
Is that actually a question?
Yeah. He asked.
Because I figured that was obvious by now.
Mike, yes, I am.
Yeah,
it's a special brand of crazy. See, the funny thing is, you guys think he's the crazy one.
She tolerates my crap. Who's crazier, the crazy one or the person who tolerates the crazy person?
I've been really enjoying a lot of your new series there with the Mind Madness, and there again, Jason's crazy builds and everything like that. So you are a crazy person. Everybody else, if you haven't gone over to see it, go. Let me plug some more of the channel here for you. Go over and check out Jason's really wacky out there builds. Like he spends a lot of time talking about into the mind of his own madness there. So,
while you're at it, could you plug this in for me?
Oh, okay. Alrighty, so let's get back to the WWE and suggest, because if this is going to be anything like these, like Star Trek thing, I didn't really buy too many. I think only bought like a couple packs doing sealed tournament stuff like that, and that's kind of where I was angling. Like, should I really be excited for this? As in, like, if this is going to be like the guys that I know. Or at least I can tell that we both kind of have similar references as far as wrestling is concerned. Like that, but when I try playing WWE 18 or whatever with my brother on video games and stuff like that, I didn't even know like 80% of the roster. Like I don't know any of the guys currently wrestling now. So like if they are they going to risk alienating? Go half and half with this, or are they going to do maybe the legends become the chases, or I don't want to spoil that. If you got an article planned, I don't think I want to spoil it for you, but so just how Like if you're out there here at Clix and WizKids, if you're watching, I would rather see the Attitude Era and the Golden Age heroes like that. So,
okay, so to spoil my article just a little, I don't think you're wrong on that. I think the first set's going to be the safe set, and I think the first set is going to cover the Attitude Era with a little bit from the Classic Era. Like I said, I go deep into that in the art, or not deep in that, but I do mention that in the article. And I think the safest bet for them, because the Attitude Era, in my opinion, and possibly on the actual numbers, is the most watched era of pro wrestling. And which is funny because that was also like the butt end of the Monday Night War, where everybody was watching both ends of wrestling and there's all kinds of cool stuff. But then after a certain point, the WWE just took command of the TV ratings. So with that knowledge, I feel like there's enough, and so many of the wrestlers from the Attitude Era are not just wrestlers anymore. They've extended beyond that, and they're actually synonymous with the idea of wrestling or just pop culture in general. They're actually pop culture icons at this point, like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Trish Stratus is very popular still. Lita is a familiar face. The Undertaker is like cemented as the part of the history of wrestling. Kane is popular enough. He's the star of 2 horror movies. And he's a mayor, right? Glenn Jacobs is the mayor of Knox County, Florida? Right?
Tennessee,
Knox County, Tennessee. Sorry. Yeah. So you've got politicians. Jesse the Body Ventura is a governor. Like an older era is the easy way to lean people in and just be like, hey, you guys remember these wrestlers? Yeah, you do. How about we do this? And then what I think they'll do is continue with wrestlers that are familiar, because the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era are safe eras to bring people in, but I think they should mix the Ruthless Aggression Era with newer era figures, because there's enough wrestlers from Ruthless Aggression who are still wrestling. At the same time, the newer wrestlers get mixed in there, so HeroClix has tangential learning to it. There's a number of comic books I have read in my past that were like, hey, this character. This character is cool in HeroClix. What is he like in the comic books? And I've ended up reading a couple, like most of my New 52 reading was that. It's like, hey, this guy was cool in HeroClix. What does he do? Or I like this character. What does he do? And, I like Deathstroke. He was cool as HeroClix. Like, there's a lot of 3-way tangential learning that I got out of it. And I think if they mix a lot of new wrestlers in the second go and say, like, who's this Roman Reigns guy? And what is he all about? And if you have friends who are wrestling fans, you already know that people hate him. But you want to find out why. Or why does everybody love this Seth Rollins guy? Or what's this Kevin Owens guy? What's he all about? While at the same time getting John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle as figures in the set. Edge, Christian, we know who they are to a certain degree. Like, because if you branched a little into into the new millennium a little bit with pro wrestling, a lot of those wrestlers kind of like some of the Attitude Era wrestlers came into that era, but then Ruthless Aggression wrestlers started coming in, and then there's that kind of overlapping thing. So that's kind of where I see what they should do. They might even just break that up into like Raw, SmackDown sets at the same time. So that's how I think they should do it, and how ideally it would turn out to be pretty good. They could also make a an Attitude Era first set, but then throw in some new guys so that you go, well, who is this guy I pulled? Now, granted, because I predict this is also going to be a Gravity Feed set, you're going to be like, what's this Seth Rollins? And you're going to look him up and realize why his stats are so awesome. Or what's a Braun Strowman? Why is he a giant? So that's, Amber, what do you think?
I don't know. It's hard for me to say because I'm a very recent wrestling fan. So it's like a lot of the old guard, older wrestlers, like I know because of what they did after wrestling, or like I know Andre the Giant because he was in movies. I know Hulk Hogan because he was in movies. I knew about Macho Man because he had commercials on TV.
And Coffee Creamer.
and Slim Jims. Like
snap into a Slim Jim. Ooh yeah!
Like that's how I know Macho Man.
She eats Slim Jims, by the way. I didn't even know they were a thing because you can't find them in Canada most of the time.
And then like the Attitude Era was like when I was a teenager, and there were certain people that I knew because of the pop culture of my age. So I knew Steve Austin because everybody knew Steve Austin.
That's the bottom line.
And I knew The Rock because everybody knew The Rock. And then The Rock started doing movies. So I knew him too.
Smell what The Rock is cooking.
And like even Edge, I only learned about Edge recently because he ended up being a fantastic actor in a show that I really enjoyed for 5 years.
Haven.
So just absolutely fantastic. So it's like I'm not one of the ones that are really pushing for like these older sets of like, yeah, let's do all of this because this is when WWE was popular and these are all the characters. I'm gonna open those figures and be like, I have no idea who the hell this is.
Amber is actually probably one of the few people like myself who are like, but why not New Japan Pro?
But
I also want to point out all those characters won an anime. Carry on.
I will have to say that one of the things that I feel like a lot of people are maybe overlooked or weren't thinking about is that they name dropped a lot of superstars in the actual announcement. So for their announcement, they mentioned John Cena, The Rock, Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns, and The Undertaker, as well as Stone Cold and Trish Stratus.
Trish Stratus. You need to be stratified. I was stratified
so it's
a lot.
A lot of those are current WWE superstars. Like those are the popular ones nowadays. So the fact that they name drop those right now makes me feel like those are the ones they're going to go with right now.
Again, my argument is that like that's how they announce things.
Whereas like that, yeah, that's how they get people interested. But also I feel like if you're going to name all of these current superstars and then release a set of just older guys, like that, it's kind of not like it's not delivering on what you promised, kind of thing.
My biggest hope for the entire set and the entire WWE line is that when the designer got the idea, it's like, hey, I need you to make a pro wrestling set. This wasn't his reaction. Ugh.
Yeah.
Because that will show in the set. And we don't want that kind of cynicism in the design of it. We want somebody who's excited about the product. There's what I think not a lot. I don't think it's a large amount, but there's a number of people who are like, why this and why not this other thing? Well, one, this is what Justin Zern does. He gets the conversation going, and they got this conversation in and signed. Secondly, I don't think you quite fathom how many HeroClix players are also pro wrestling fans. And like, I can tell you the entire cast of Clixed Off are pro wrestling fans. Maybe not Jason. I will say that. Maybe not Jason. I am probably the only pro wrestling fan on this channel, short of Amber being a newer pro wrestling fan. Like, she's a new fan of pro wrestling, and she's excited for this because I'm excited for this. And like, she's got an excitement for newer stuff, and I'm just excited at the prospect of the design possibilities of this. So there is a lot of crossover, and I hope that crossover kind of leads into a really interested pro wrestling fan making the set. If not, WizKids, I do have a couple hours in my day. I can probably nail out a set pretty quick for you. Like, I could almost bang out a set like that. Like just thinking about what you can do with the Attitude Era alone. And what comes to question in my head, and I do miss, is what do they get? Like, what does WWE have a say in versus what WizKids can ask for, and where that all goes? Because as an example, the Dudley Boys are owned by WWE, but their likenesses Are they owned by WWE? Because that becomes a bit of a thing, right? There's a lot of pro wrestlers who go to different industries, kind of take their looks with them, but then their character might not be available to us, and you're never sure. A lot of these guys get Legends contracts, and that's another thing I don't know how that works either. So there's so many questions as far as that, like, what are they allowed out of this? Now, I'm pretty sure with Trish Stratus coming back for this new Evolution pay-per-view, Stone Cold Steve Austin does a lot of work with the WWE as far as it, like, being an ambassador kind of thing. Booker T does a lot of work as a Hall of Famer. He showed up on the episode of SmackDown I went to live, which was super exciting. And welcome the New Day to the five-time club. Yeah, that's right. I miscounted because he miscounted. Anyway, so I don't know what the rules on those licenses rights are, but I do agree with you that the first set, just to make sure people understand that they're serious about it, should be the Attitude Era. Are you done with me?
Sorry, I was just running it in my head of having them show up on Up Up Down Down, because they also do tabletop stuff with D&D.
I swear to God, if we get a chance to talk to Xavier Woods, I might explode. But Scott Porter's going to get that before I do. All right, Mike. Before I pop myself in my pants at the onset of YouTubing with a pro wrestler, what's the next question?
So, do you think this is going to bring on a whole new set of keywords like grappler, technician, WWE, WCW, SmackDown, Raw? Could you have like a Raw theme team, or is this going to bring on a whole new set of? What else could I be missing? Like, what else could be out there that could be a new keyword?
I think there's going to be a bunch of new named keywords, and I think it's going to be a mixture of the show they were on, Raw or SmackDown, a lot, or if they were on both, then both. There might be like WrestleMania headliners, and they'll get the WrestleMania keyword, maybe. There's a generic keyword part of the article that I think is going to be on every single character, and that is the celebrity keyword. I think this set is going to be to celebrity as the Undead set was to Monster. Like, I think every single character is going to have the celebrity keyword. I think that's a given almost. And then from there, I personally believe that we will get it's hard to say that whether or not we're going to get, it'll be WWE something. Like WWE face, WWE heel, or WWE Raw, WWE SmackDown. Like, the WWE likes to throw their brand in there a lot, but those keywords will, I think they'll exist. Like WWE : Raw : SmackDown : or we'll even see the faction, Degeneration X, the Ministry, the Corporation will be things. The New Day the New Day is going to actually be one figure. Who am I kidding? That's another story. And the Ministry of Darkness will be something. The Shield, not Shield. It would be a nice mistake for them to make, but I don't think they're going to make that mistake.
Your New World Order.
New World Order. 4 horsemen, yes. 4 horsewomen.
Yeah.
NXT. NXT might be something for call-ups, because NXT is the old brand, or we might even see OVW for characters like Batista, John Cena, Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar. Just like OVW call-ups. Yeah, bro. It also depends on how much research these guys do. That is a big thing, is how deep in the knowledge brand are the designers on this. Call me Whiskins. Call me, please. I'll do it for half of whatever you pay a designer for a contract. I don't need a job. I'm fine. I do this part-time is what I'm saying. It's a Gravity Feed set. How hard could it be? And that's when I find out exactly how hard it can be, and I lose sleep. and my job and my family. But so yeah, as far as keywords are concerned, I think celebrity is going to be a big one, and there'll be a couple made up for the WWE. I don't think grappler and technician are going to be keywords per se, but martial artists might show up for certain, like Steve Blackman, Ken Shamrock type wrestlers. If they do Hakushi from back, like I'm keeping it in the 90s just for you, man. Who's another martial artist we might see? I mean, like if we go current, Shinsuke Nakamura is a strong style MMA style fighter. I mean, even Brock Lesnar could get martial artist because he fights MMA now, and he knows how to do the kicky punchy stuff. So, yeah, Ronda Rousey would definitely be martial artist. That's right. That's a thing that could happen. Ronda Rousey hero click.
I mean, we almost got it with her gunning for Captain Marvel.
Oh, dude, if she was Captain Marvel, we'd have a Ronda Rousey hero click. That's true. Yeah. So I agree. There will be some new keywords, mostly named. And I feel like all of them will have a generic celebrity keyword. And I think it makes a lot of sense for that to happen. Yeah. All you again, sir.
Alrighty, so last question to close this part out for the night is that did the boxing ring bring all that? Was this the kind of like the precursor to an eventual move to this thing like that? Was it successful enough to like, hey, let's do? Because there was maybe like 4 or 5, I don't know how long ago it was like, but yeah, my local playing area, we all got together and did like a quote unquote like a WrestleMania. It was like this whole we had, it was probably like the most people we've had there in a long time, and we all had like 4 4 horsemen type of guys. Like, yeah, we had all did this one big melee with the boxing ring, and we all we even wanted to give our guys, like, introduce them into like with theme songs and everything like that. And we really wanted to like overdo that. But so my like last question would be is that did the boxing ring help usher this whole thing together?
I'm not going to say it didn't. I'm not going to say it did. But because sorry about that. But I think it was a natural thing that was going to happen, and it does depend on how much WizKids watches the way people play. And that by play, I mean play. But it goes without saying, our own friend on the channel, Mike White, he mentioned at one point from Canadian Nationals that he was putting his Moon Knight on the top turnbuckle from like day one of having his boxing ring. We've all been playing wrestling with the boxing ring since day one. I don't think Justin Zirin is oblivious to it. I also think, though, that he's been aware about this of this for a much longer time than we probably give credit for. I feel like the crossover between nerd collectible games and pro wrestling is way bigger than people give it credit for, because I think, I'm going to say this, pro wrestling is probably one of the biggest closeted hobbies out there, because I don't want to say I watch pro wrestling and then the next thing I hear is, well, it's fake. No, Amber, it's fake.
It's fake?
It's fake.
No.
Whoa. And that's a big thing. Also, pro wrestling sells a lot of tickets. They make a lot of money. Like the WWE has been going since before my dad was born, right? Like, or sorry, as it was the Triple WF back then, the WWWF back in the day for under Vince McMahon Sr. And it's it's one of those things like it's been going this long, it's not losing money. And though less people are going to live events, that doesn't mean they've stopped making money. Like, to quote what I've heard on dirt sheets and through extraneous reporting, they're a publicly traded company. And because they're a publicly traded company, their finances are not hidden. And part of that finances is they don't make their money off of the ticket sales as much as they used to anymore. Like ticket sales are still a portion of what they make, but WWE online accounts are a big portion. The WWE Live or whatever? I don't know. I don't remember what they call their online thing. I just know I can't get in Canada without cable. They've made deals, like their deal with the country of Saudi Arabia made them a large amount of money, and all they're required to do is put on a couple shows in Saudi Arabia. Like that's it. That's all they need to do. It's like they gave them money, put on shows here. Okay, how much money? Apparently they made a buttload of money, like probably more money than you can fit in my apartment. My apartment is 2 floors. So for scale, there's like they're making a lot of money, and as a result, they don't make that money by people not watching. People are watching. There's people viewing this product. This product is worth money, and just because people aren't telling you they're wrestling fans doesn't mean they aren't. And everybody at some point has been touched by wrestling, and that's why a set like this or a contract like this can touch everybody's soul in a specific way. Saw where I was going with that. It's phrasing. Like, go down the street, ask somebody who Hulk Hogan is. Do you know who Hulk Hogan is?
Yeah.
Do you know who the Macho Man is?
Yeah.
Do you know who Andre the Giant is?
Yeah.
Do you know who Val Venus is? Yeah, well, you see? So you're not going to win all the time. Right? But I just named 3 wrestlers that you can... Roddy Piper. Yeah, see? Jimmy Superfly Snuka. It's a good thing because he's a murderer. You can go down the street and just there's a certain number of wrestlers that you can just get a reaction. It's like, I know that guy. Go Bill Goldberg. Brock Lesnar. The guy who made the German suplex boring. Also mixed martial arts. Prior to that, because you knew him in...
That's right. I knew him from our UFC days.
Are you not only that, but what happened on the day Brock Lesnar beat the crap out of Randy Couture?
Oh,
that's the day our daughter was born.
I totally blanked on the fact that was a Brock Lesnar.
You pushed a person out of you on the same day that Brock Lesnar and Randy Couture fought. Not only that, PBR. Thank goodness for PBR because that was $60 I wasn't getting back. Oh, but yeah. So the long and short of it is, this is a product that is part of everybody, and I think it's going to bring in new players. I think it's going to bring in new attention, and I think it's worth it. What was the original question?
If the boxing ring sparked all this.
Yeah. So the boxing ring was there, and it was almost natural that people were going to do this. I think the number of people who did it was a little bit more shocking, and I don't know if Justin Searton caught that. I don't know how far beyond New Jersey he goes. I don't bother him that frequently, right? Let's be honest. I think at best I bother him on Facebook when he makes a post on Amber's thing that leads to another contract being signed, right? It's not a big thing. It's like I'm not hunting the guy down. I let him do his job. I've got a job to do. Nobody bothers me with that job, except for my bosses. Amber's got her thing that she does on this, and nobody bothers her to do that because she's doing the job, right? And as long as people are doing the job, then we're fine. And I don't know where he gets his information, but I'm like, if people weren't doing things that we were doing with the boxing ring, that would be cause for more concern for the WWE. You know, it's like people weren't immediately putting their Spider-Mans off the top rope or screaming, "Bone saws ready." If they weren't doing that right off of the bat, I don't know what to say about the world anymore. Amber, anything you want to add to that?
I think actually it's just an add-on to what you were saying is that I think you guys can find it. I posted a 5-second video, I think, of us actually playing wrestling in the ring while we were waiting for the first round of Canadian Nationals.
I do remember that.
We bought it, took it out of the box, and started playing wrestling on it. Like that is how quickly we went to that conclusion. So, and I guarantee we weren't the only ones that did that. And like it was instantly posted on our Facebook because we're like, hey, because I think that was the time where we got the boxing ring like earlier than a lot of other people got it. Because it showed up at some WKOs and then we had it at Nationals.
Yeah.
Because that was when Nationals was like 2 weeks before Worlds or something.
Well, no, we were the first ones to get the boxing ring, weren't we?
Were we? I thought because I knew the Pim tank showed up, but I couldn't remember if we were the first ones to get the boxing ring.
I don't remember now.
Either way, like as soon as we got it, that video went up of us playing wrestling on it. Like, because that was just the instant thing. Because I think it's one of those things is that wrestling has always been a big thing of a very big pop culture thing where like boxing's kind of fallen to the wayside. Like I know there's still boxing. There's still a lot of people that get really hyped up for boxing matches and stuff, but it feels like boxing's kind of left its like golden years behind, and like you don't really hear about boxing anymore
unless it's a super big match.
Yeah, whereas like you can pretty much almost always hear about wrestling, even if you're not a wrestling fan. Wrestling is just always kind of there, especially with so many wrestlers have moved from wrestling to acting. And it's like, okay, well, now these wrestlers are part of the bigger pop culture circles and bubbles that everybody is exposed to because, well, you might not know Dave Bautista as a wrestler, but you probably know him as Drax. You might not know The Rock, but you most likely know Dwayne Johnson. So I feel like wrestling is just a lot more in the forefront than boxing was. So it was just more of a natural conclusion for people to just be like, oh yeah, we're gonna play with this boxing ring and make it a wrestling ring, because it's one of those things is that they're exactly the same thing when it comes down to it. Like the layout of a boxing ring and a wrestling ring are the same thing.
Yeah,
you don't have like the octagon for UFC. You've got a square boxing.
An octagon wouldn't fit in the.
No, but what I'm saying is that it's not like wrestling has a different ring than boxing.
Yeah. And, you know, the other thing is boxing is a thing, but boxing is a punching sport. And two guys jump in the ring in the middle and punch. And, like, we got the two guys with the boxing gloves. Fine. I don't want to act that out. I want to act out Spider-Man doing a moonsault off the top rope. I'm sorry. I appreciate the Muhammad Ali and Superman boxing comic and all the things about that and the boxing and everything like that. But, honestly, I went straight to wrestling. Like, to the point where when I was playing against the boxing in the first couple of games, it was just like I was putting my guys in between the ropes to put them into the thing, and unless they had like super senses or leap climb, in which case I do. Whoop! It was so much fun to play wrestling with it. It is what it is. All right, so our wrestling portion of the show is over, I assume.
All right, so let's get on to the other big news of the past 2 weeks is the how excited are you for the new Black Panther chase and that it could produce the zombie pogs?
Okay, I have to step for a second and be possibly wrong on this, but possibly right. The Black Panther might not be a chase because we saw another chase from the set. That was the Iron Fist. But the Iron Fist was done up like the 10,000 BC Iron Fist. Now, I don't think Black Panther got the Infinity Gauntlet in the 10,000 BC comic, did he?
No, because he looks more like Wildcat in the 10,000 BC.
Right. So it is, and I could be wrong about being wrong. And it is figure 61, which is a borderline. Like, there's usually about 60 to 61 figures in a set, and that 60 to 61 that are not chases. And it's kind of that borderline. But that said,
because we also saw Agamotto, who is from the 10,000 BC line.
Yeah.
So we have 2 10,000 BC Clix and then a Black Panther with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Most important part of the question though is Black Panther makes zombies. If they were better, I'd be more excited. But I'm like,
doesn't he only make them on his stop click?
He only makes it on his 3 stop clicks. Okay. Like every time he hits each click with the stop click, the way it's worded is very specific about the second this click is revealed. Now, the problem I have with that is that's part of the 250 point version. I don't want to play with that version. I want to play with the first 150 points of that dial. So in a more fun, casual, at the kitchen table game, I'm probably going to play that guy at 250 points and watch people suffer as they get to those stop clicks, and I just keep making zombie pogs in their faces. Like, deal with this. You got 6 zombies if you've killed him. Congratulations. This is now your incapacitate nightmare. And the fact that they're autonomous, right?
Yeah.
But grand scale, he's neat. I like the way he runs, and I like how he manages. Like, I like this 6-dial pick-a power type thing. I think that's a cool mechanic. But I'm not as hyped for the figure as I could be because he's 250 points in order to bring out the zombie pogs. That's my take on it, Amber.
I honestly have not been paying close enough attention to other reviews. I'm actually trying to find. I couldn't find it. I'm really bad for this, especially, and I haven't actually put it up on our Facebook yet. But I'm really bad at just like, oh, there's a preview, save, share, and move on with my day. I don't actually look at the figures before we actually get into the set. So I look at it and be like, oh, hey, cool. There's a figure that came out. But like, I don't look deeply into them. So I honestly don't know what that Black Panther does. I don't know his powers. I don't know anything about him. The only thing I know is that he does make zombies on his dog click. And he's not my style of figures. So...
Yeah, I was just going like on HC Realms, their introduction. It literally, according to them, they said, "All right, here is the Chase Black Panther."
Okay.
But it's HC Realms, not WizKids, so they could be wrong too.
Yeah.
Not saying they are, but I mean that is a possibility.
Yeah. Generally, chases tend to. Generally, chases tend to follow theme. But what it could also be is that Black Panther in 10,000 BC is just going to be another Black Panther, whereas the Hulk would be Hulk with the Star Force, and Agamotto is Doctor Strange, but caveman Doctor Strange. Iron Fist is Iron Fist, but caveman Iron Fist. So it could just be people who are cool to a certain degree, or like 10,000 BC and Black Panther the Infinity Gauntlet. Because he can be whatever he wants. He's the Infinity Gauntlet. Tell me I can't. I have the Infinity Gauntlet.
I can be anything I want to be.
Anything I can be whenever I want to. So.
There's the Iron Fist.
Mm-hmm. So you have to go deeper.
Yeah.
Deeper. Go lower. She's trying to find it. Almost, no, not even close. Oh, there's the alliance notes. Oh. So we're still not even close.
Man, HeroClix people talk so much.
Why don't you do the photos?
That would be the smart thing to do, Jason.
I'm sorry. Did I just did I break you? That's moving a little faster now. Yeah, almost there. Sorry, this is like the most interesting, us staring at a phone, right? You see, that looks like a Chase background.
Does have a Chase.
Yeah, it's a Chase color. So here we go. I'm wrong again. I'm wrong about being wrong about being wrong.
But then I don't know. Then I don't know what the theme for the chases are because that's not 10,000 BC.
Fiery fists. Iron Fist had a fiery fist. Agamotto's got fiery hands. It's going to be Fiery Fist Avengers. There we go. Done. Figured it out, Amber. I figured it out.
Sure.
Again, he's got the Infinity Gauntlet. Tell him he can't be in 10,000 BC. He's got the time gem.
But there's a really cool Black Panther in the... I give up.
You see? You're trying to make sense of it all. All right, Mike, before we go crazy here.
So... yeah, which also made me think. Let me get into focus here. Okay, yeah. That have we ever had a? Because I don't think I couldn't really find it on HC Realms or anything like it do like through their search engine and everything like that. To the best of your knowledge, have we ever had chases that produce pogs? I know we have had super rares and things like that, and. Have we ever had a chase that produces pogs?
Batman the Animated Series had 2. Aquaman and Hawkgirl.
Yeah.
Right? There have been chases that Daredevil, or no, Daredevil doesn't make pugs, he makes characters.
Yeah. But you're not wrong. I mean, Aquaman and Hawkgirl do, and we're not. There we are.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, we're there.
No,
we
I
don't
know,
stop playing. Don't worry about that.
There.
Never you fear that. You know what? You answer this first while I do the thing. And
what am I answering? I thought we already answered it.
Well, we answered that there's at least 2. We got to find some more. You were supposed to vamp, Amber, while I look.
But I don't know the answer. And there's no real way to just look at unless you go by every single chase.
I mean, I can find a couple sets and say this is a thing that's happened enough to say, yeah, it happens. I know it in my head that there have been other chases that make characters. Just off the top of my head, it doesn't happen that frequently. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, like chases themselves don't do it that often. Mighty Thor, you gonna? Oh no, wait, Mighty Thor has a Valkyrie. No, wait, maybe not. No, because that's Thor. I feel like Valkyrie makes Warrior Souls. No, nope.
Well, isn't that Malekith there with the Dark Elf and Odin there with the Crimson Hawk, or am I reading that wrong?
No, you're correct. Malekith makes Dark Elves, and Odin makes Dark Hawks. So Crimson Hawks rather. So it's less frequent with chases, I guess. It's more of a super rare thing.
Yeah, but it has happened in the past.
Yeah.
Because now that's 4 that we found.
Yeah. Oh, wait, and Elseworlds.
All right, because Robin makes the vehicles.
Yeah. What if does not, though? I don't think. They're all Venoms.
Yeah.
That could have been better. Like the closest we had was Daredevil, who makes full-blown ninjas.
Yeah.
So Deadpool does not. Ninja Turtles 3 does not. Joker's Wild. What were the chases? Oh, they're Bizarro. No. Ninja Turtles 2 did not.
It seems to be a more recent thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem to be a more. It's not as frequent as it once was. That's for sure. What's World's Finest Chases? Casey's. Nope, that's not a thing. Classic Ninja Turtles chases did not. Uncanny X-Men was Age of Apocalypse. That didn't happen. That wasn't the thing. Age of Ultron. Nope, those were all just Ultrons. They might as well have made Pogs with all those ID cards. Avengers Assemble. Nope. Yeah. Okay. So sorry.
More recent thing.
Yeah. As we go through dig through HC realms, it's not a frequent thing, but it is a thing. So, yeah. Sorry, we just found out some news about our next Days of Future Past next week, so it's less exciting than we wanted it to be, but whatever.
Oh, that's what that was. Okay.
Yeah. All right. What's up next there, Mike?
Alrighty. So. All right, let's go with this one. What are the chances of that Batman animated series Riddler joining the watch list? I am getting more and more frustrated with playing against him because everybody knows all you have to do is like, okay, just count up one extra. Okay, I'm gonna say evens or odds based on how many, like the +1 that I know you need to beat me. So it's like a guarantee, like either you miss with the roll or you miss with like the being guessing evens and odds like that. And I think that, in my opinion, breaks the game. And I hope more people take a better look at that and say maybe they can only use it so many times during the game because. What are your thoughts on that?
So, I don't think it's going to be watch listed anytime soon. And the thing about the watch list is that it's scale, right? So, if every single team all of a sudden had a Riddler, that would draw people's attention to it. It's a good figure. It's really good. It's really hard to hit. But it's also only 50 points out of if we're talking about a 300-point game, it's 50 points out of 300. Like, there's 250 points you could be scoring, and then this Riddler is kind of look down the barrel of the gun of another 300 possible 150 points that you could just ignore him with, to be brutally honest, because it's a hard figure to hit. I won't disagree with you on that one. I played him in battle royales, and I think I maybe got hit once by accident. So I'm not going to disagree that it is a hard figure to hit. And if the player behind it understands it's like, okay, well, if you need a 7, then I'm going to choose odds or misses, or I'm going to dodge odds. And therefore, you need even numbers, which is only 8, 10, and 12. That massive reduction. But there's a couple things to get past him. If you poison him, he can't dodge that. If you pulse wave him, he doesn't have that power. If you critically hit him, he can't do that either. And you can force a critical hit by bringing a Gray Ghost with a Batman, any Batman. And any doubles that Batman rolls that aren't 2s and 1s are critical hits. So because he evades and a critical hit becomes a hit. And that word becomes is an important word because he's now hit. So like there's enough answers to it and ways around it that if you put the effort in and think about it for a second and manage it slightly better, you can deal with him. So that would be my suggestion. Amber, anything you want to pitch in there?
I think it's one of those things that is often overlooked, and I've tried to explain this for people, is that the watch list, the characters that actually end up on the watch list that actually get changed, because there are characters that have shown up on the watch list but haven't been changed, they break a fundamental part of the game. So even if we look at the most recent characters that got changed, so like Unimind, he got changed to not be able to pick powers on your opponent's turn, because that breaks a fundamental thing in the game, in that you can never do something on your opponent's turn. All you can do is you use your powers are there and you react, but you don't get to do anything on you don't make actions or anything on your opponent's turn. So him being able to pick powers on your opponent's turn not only breaks that, but also it completely slowed down the game, and the fact that you're now sitting there assessing of like, oh, it's the beginning of your turn. What power should I pick now? So there was a speed element to it, but also that was the only thing in the game that allowed you to do something on your opponent's turn. And we look back before that, we have Goblin King, who, I mean, he got a little heavily nerfed in the fact of his power cosmic only being available on his highest dial. But his thing was that they changed him to match all the other pick-a-powers. So his was just what did it was originally he got to pick.
Is this what?
Goblin King.
I got to pick powers, and then I had those powers until I picked again.
Yes. So then they changed it to until the end of your turn.
Until the next turn.
Or until the next turn. And then that way you didn't, because when you could pick again, there were instances where you could have 4 different powers in a turn, and you could use that very strategically. So that is
guilty.
Basically breaking the pick-a-power, because now this is the only pick-a-power that can use 4 different powers in a turn. And then, like, even we go back to the original first watch list with the team bases. The team bases were broken from the start. They did things that you should never be allowed to do.
How do they get past design?
And you've got Spiral, who allowed you to put something basically in your opponent's starting area and then attack your opponent and basically end the game on the second turn.
These are part of the game too, guys.
You have the Ghost Rider. Now, the Ghost Rider didn't get touched, but the Heroes for Hire ATA got touched. So
one action per character per turn.
So it's one of those things where these are very fundamental, basic rules of the game, and every character that has so far to this date been affected by the watch list was because they did something that broke one of those fundamentals. So bringing that all back, there's really nothing that Riddler is doing that is breaking a fundamental of the game, other than saying then, yeah, that doesn't hit. But that's really no different than a prob saying that or a reroll saying that. It's just, it has slightly more control over that. So while it is very probable, and as long as you know how to make that work to your advantage, how to game that, the odds of whatever showing up for you, it can be incredibly frustrating to play against, but it's not doing anything too extreme that is breaking the game in that sense. And as Jason said, where unless this Riddler shows up on every single team at every WizKid run event, they're not even going to be looking at him.
Yeah. The other thing too is that you can increase your attack to make that to the point where that almost doesn't matter, and it really just becomes a 50-50. Like if I have a 13 attack against a 17 defense and he picks evens, cool. I still hit on 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So there's still enough. Like you just have to find a way to increase the multitude of numbers that you get in order to. No, it's again, it's not easy because when you roll odds all the time, you still get the prob it. You still get multiple chances at it. So patience, Padawan, patience. And ignore the son of a bitch.
That is one thing. He's only 50 points. That does give you another 250 points. Even if you ignore him for the entire game and not score him, that gives you a potential of 250 points to score if you don't do anything else with this Riddler. Because really, that Riddler's not doing much to help your opponent anyways.
The points to kill him are generally not worth it. You should be refocusing your targeting on something else. Now, granted, if you're playing against a team of 6 Riddlers, the guy is both a jerk and about to lose a range game. Because I'm pretty sure that Riddler has a 0 range with Outwit, right? Like, I don't think he has a particular thing that he's doing outside of outwitting with, a couple damage here and there. And like I said, if the guy's playing 6 Riddlers, well, first of all, he's a jerk. Second of all, he's not going to win, and he's just going to annoy you. Riddler does have a 0 range, so don't worry about it. To be brutally honest, it's a frustration, but it's also
0 range with incapacitate.
Yeah, 0 range with incapacitate and outwit. So the outwit's only got 6 range. And
does incap have a base range?
No, doesn't have a minimum range. Yeah, so it's it's not that bad, but I can understand if you had a bad game. It's like just can't hit this Riddler. Like I know there are at least 6 or 9 guys who I played battle royales with, and I picked the Riddler against them, and they're just like, "Why did I spend attacks on that guy? He wasn't doing anything." And I'm just like, "Yes, you're right. Thank you for throwing attacks at that guy so that I can attack with everything else on my team and still find a way to lose." I am bad at battle royales. I hate them. I hate them so much. It's probably because I have that face where it's like, Jason, I want to beat you. I want to beat you, and I want to do it with everybody else helping me. And it's because I'm good at drafting. That's why. This is my curse. See, notice the 2 times that they were draft pre-releases, and I was 1-on-1 and I won. I'm good at drafting, just not against 3 other people.
How can you be good at drafting when it basically depends? Like, it's so random.
Hey man, if I could abuse the fact that the guy to my left sucks, or is making bad decisions. As long as everybody else I'm
with sucks, then I'm really good at doing this.
But it's a matter of drafting is a matter of decision making. Now, granted, a battle royale does seem like luck, and that is where if you think about it, it's not necessarily luck in the sense that you can draft well, right? You can take a look at a pick and go, if I don't pick the highest point character, the not highest point character better be better. So if I have a 75 point character and that Riddler, but I already have a first pick that was pretty solid, and I take that Riddler, I've now added outwit to that already solid first pick. That guy can have that 75 point character, because you know what that guy with the 75 point character isn't going to do? Isn't going to hit my Riddler. Drafts can be manipulated. Is not even so much manipulated as done well.
Yeah.
You can draft well. It's just play beyond that one, because the only draft format that we have officially for your WizKids is play everything that you draft.
Yeah.
I almost feel like it should be 2 to 3 pack draft, and you still have to build a 300-point team.
Right.
And eventually you end up building 3 different teams. It's like, well, what do I do now? But the problem is that's a $45 draft.
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering, that's a $15 event. So that is why
that's
draft,
where the price point comes from.
That's why card games take this much space and can draft because it costs $5 to get a pack. Whereas us,
before you know it, you have 5,000 cards.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so no, Riddler shouldn't be watch listed. He's fine. He's just
annoying.
I get his obnoxiousness. I've dealt with annoying characters before, but I've never like watch list this annoying SOB. I think it was Veteran Mockingbird that one kid kept bringing to tournaments all the time. He's like, haha, you got to deal with my 21 defense because she's 19 defense with combat reflexes. Okay, but I shoot her. Or, okay, I poison.
Yeah.
Like, what have you done? Except tried to be annoying to me. Eventually, I'm going to hit it. Like.
That actually reminds me, and I didn't end up doing a casual corner for it, but I went up against a really obnoxious, but fun to play against X-Men team. And I did one of those moments where one of the cuckoos got to her stop click where she becomes Phoenix Force. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's the defense? It's like, oh, well, it's 20 defense with impervious and all this stuff. And I'm down to like my GCPD officers. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I can't get through that impervious. What am I going to do? But she was double tokened. And I was like, oh, I have incapacitate. So I incapacitated the Phoenix Force to death. Because I'm like, I'm going to incapacitate you. That gives you a token, but you have 2 tokens. So you're just going to take that damage and I don't have to worry about you having impervious. Yeah. I made the smart decision.
We'll make a HeroClix player out of you yet.
I'm proud of that moment.
And then she was 1-2 for the day.
I didn't win that game.
Oh, jeez. Really?
I didn't win that game.
Come on, Amber. All right. Mike, carry on.
All right. Carry on my wayward son. Oh, I don't want to get tagged on that.
Amber demonetized.
No. All right. This is Nebula. You know her. You all love her.
Nobody loves her.
No. Okay. Yeah. I still have 2 or 3 of these. I still can't get rid of. I still want a mod one because I can't get rid of them. Like, can't trade them. Can't go like that.
You can't trade something nobody wants.
Just add it into trades. It's like, it's like, dude, I don't want this. I don't care.
Sell a HeroClix on. What you do is you sell HeroClix online, and when they buy it, all of a sudden there's a Nebula in the pack. It's like, what this Nebula in there? It's like, that's yours, man. Enjoy.
Just like, haha, now you have it.
No gives you backsies. And then they pay for the shipping to send it back. It's like, wow, you really hated that figure, eh?
So if I were to have Nebula or Thanos on my team, and I'm trying to come up with a strategy on, if they were to ever get, no, really, because I know my skill in HeroClix, and they'll probably eventually go down and get KO'd eventually. What kind of strategy should I look for or employ in adding the +1 to all the stats like that? I'm reading like that. So they got the trait where they can go, okay, pass the gauntlet along to someone else. Here's +1 to all stats. Who should I look for on my team that would most benefit from that +1? Should it be like a speedster with, like, say, maybe like a flash and get like 15, 16 movement, or like what would I look for in that?
This is the hard sell, because you're trying. Here's the sales pitch you got for me. I got Nebula and I got Thanos, and they're great. They're good figures. I love these figures, right? And this is the sales pitch here I'm trying to sell here. And they got this great ability that when they die, they give +1 to somebody else. For the love of God, they better be able to save the game for you, because Nebula and Thanos are both way overcosted. Thanos is great as part of a Unimind team. I have seen that strategy employed by some players in different events. I don't know where and what their teams were and who else was playing them, but that's one of those things we keep track of. Hey, you know who you are. Somebody I heard complaining about, like, why you call it their team? Well, I saw that guy use that team.
Yeah.
it's memetics. It's how that works. It's how the brain works. Anyway, long story short, so yeah, sure. Anybody who's got stats could always use +1 more to all their stats, and a speedster is not out of the question, as long as you're not dealing with plasticity, because then those guys start to waver a little. So you want like a speedster or somebody with range maybe, or a reasonably placed character who, honestly, like, look at whatever you're going to put with them, and if you're planning on giving them the +1, say, my God, if only this character had +1 to all of its stats, it would be so much better. And I guarantee every character +1 to all of its stats is better. That's a given. That's HeroClix. So, sure, speedster's not bad. A range character is probably better because you kind of maximize the +1s, because if I remember correctly, the +1s are to everything, and range is the thing that +1 would go to. So like a running shot range combat character or a hypersonic range combat character would go a long way to really absorb that +1 to its stats. I'd personally prefer you didn't throw a Nebula or a Thanos points level away in order to get these stats. They should be doing good things. And of course, when you talk about Nebula, she's not. But I mean, it does also depend on the size of the game, right? Like Nebula and Thanos look a lot better in a 700-point game or a 600-point game. Like the top dials all of a sudden become great. But like when you look at Nebula's low dials, like, hey, look at my Battle Fury. Thanks, Nebula. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you being here. Don't appreciate your 9 range with Battle Fury. So that's my thoughts on it. What's your take on it, Amber?
I think, like Jason was saying, where pretty much anybody can benefit from getting +1 stats. I think at this point, it's more or less knowing who not to give it to. And that becomes kind of elementary when you look at who's on your team, who's left by the time that Nebula is dead. And I think at that point, it's assessing what's on your team and being like, okay, well, my heavy hitter has actually taken, like, the guy that I was planning to give all the stats to is like on his last click, so he's gonna die anyways. So why don't we give it to like the next choice? And I think as long as you're not giving it to, like, say, like Moira McTaggart or Night Nurse or an ex-student, like, as long as it's not your like low-end support guys that don't really need extra stats, you're pretty much good to go. And trying to, like Jason was saying, trying to build your team around being like, I'm going to build this team with the intention that Nebula is going to die. Maybe make it somebody that's really, really hard to kill or really good at killing other things, because you're going into this situation already handing your opponent points. So you want to make sure that all of that is going to go to somebody who can make up all of the points that you just gave away from getting all that +1s.
Floor is yours again, sir.
Alrighty, I think we've pretty much covered everything here. Last question. What do you think of the necessity of a mastermind character on a meta team? Like, where would you rank it as, and or like, is it going to start showing up in more in meta teams?
Well, Mastermind has started showing up in teams that are part of the competitive game, and that is Star Fox. Star Fox is part of the game, and his last click, his stop click, comes from Mastermind. And you can. This is why people are playing with the Chamber ID card, because the way that you kill Star Fox is not attack damage, which is what Mastermind passes damage on from. It's the knockback damage that you kill him with, right? But at the same, and he doesn't have that till a stop click, which is his last click. So it's kind of a here and there, because the Star Fox team generally comes with Groots. Groots come with the bystander tokens. The bystander tokens are 0 points and therefore less points than Star Fox. And as a result, he can pass the damage off to them, no problem, right? So that's how Mastermind is working in the current game. I don't think it's a necessity yet. The best Masterminders are those whose Mastermind can't be outwitted. That's why when the rules first changed, I was really excited about the Joker-Lex duo. I just wasn't brave enough to play a 200-point character on a team because I'm a gigantic coward. And sometimes I just can't put my money where my mouth is. And my mouth was all over the joke. I was talking about the Lex and Joker duo all over the place. And I just wasn't bringing it to the table. So I can tout the wonders of a character all I want, but if I don't bring it, I'm not really proving it, right? So that said, Mastermind as a power itself, I don't think is a necessity, but it can be used, and it can be really greatly taken advantage of in a situation where you have a character who can Mastermind without the worry of Outwit is still Mastermind's weakness. Precision Strike no longer its weakness, but Outwit and Pulse Wave still are. So you do have to take that into account when you're considering these things. Amber?
Mastermind has always been one of those powers where it's like I've never found myself using it or even just utilizing it to the best of its ability, because I found that a lot of the times Mastermind ends up being on really small squishy characters and characters that you really don't want in the fray anyways, because it seems like Mastermind is that power that it'd be oh well, I'm just gonna shrug off this this damage, hand it off to this whatever guy that I don't need it on, and that seems like a cool thing, but then they never seem to put it on characters that can really utilize that.
Characters I want to protect.
Yeah. And they put it on comic accurate guys. You always see it on Joker and stuff, but they don't really make a Joker that I want to, other than the ha 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 Joker, who I don't think has Mastermind. Nope. You don't see a Joker that you want to be okay, here. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Hit my Joker. Then again, that being said, I do believe the Holiday Joker, the one on the chair with the camera, I think he does have Mastermind, and I think I was able to use that. But that being said, Mastermind hasn't really been a mainstay in the that's the wrong set. I'm thinking Joker's Wild.
Oh, picture taking Joker.
Yeah.
I thought you said Santa Joker.
No, he's sitting on the chair with the camera.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's traded unoutwittable.
Yeah.
Remember what I said.
But yeah, Mastermind hasn't really been a mainstay since the days of Lamp. And
Lamp! What a great team.
And for those of you guys that weren't around then, aren't aware of what Lamp is, Lamp is an acronym for Lockjaw, Armor Piercing, Mastermind, Poison. And if one of the three of those doesn't sound familiar, because Armor Piercing was a feat. So basically you used Lockjaw, and there was actually a version of the Holiday Joker with the camera that was used for this, that had Mastermind and Poison, and you put the feat Armor Piercing on him, where any damage that they did was penetrating damage.
Well, no, their damage couldn't be reduced below 1.
That was what Armor Piercing was?
That's what Armor Piercing was.
Yeah.
The initial precision strike.
Sorry. Yes. So basically you were using Lockjaw to carry this Joker around, and just damaging people all over the place with the poison. And for anybody that remembers playing against a Lockjaw, these puppies had seriously deep dials.
Like, if you go back to the Fast Force Lockjaw, that was a much higher point version of the same problem. Massive dial, capable of carrying dudes, and way, way under cost. I think it was like 38 points for the veteran Lockjaw, and he had like 10 clicks of health.
So he was able to soak up the mastermind damage from any time the Joker got hit. And if I remember correctly, a standard build of this had 2 Lockjaws and 2 Jokers.
Generally.
Yeah. So, like, that was really, but that was a team that could really utilize this mastermind. And that what I was saying with this mastermind, where you need somebody, because you don't really want. Lately, it seems like they're gearing towards having these small, like either like bystanders, which are fine, but like little Clix to use the mastermind. It's like, but then I'm still giving away points. Whereas when it was best used was when you had this ridiculously deep dial on Lockjaw, and he's just going to take the damage, and it's not giving your opponent the points that they're trying so desperately to get. And I feel like that's my problem with Mastermind, is that I will more often than not give up the points on the Joker because the people that are around him are more points, and I don't want to damage those guys.
Yeah, so Mastermind, not a requirement, but if you can make use of it, make use of it.
But it doesn't seem like there's much of a resurgence of Mastermind in the current competitive game, or that we're going to see much of a use of it. Then again, we do have a lot of little guys that have a lot of stop clicks.
Mines can make effective use of it if you can find one of the Eternals that have it.
Yeah, so it's a here and there where it's not really showing up right now. It could possibly, but it's a hard power to kind of build a competitive team around.
That awkward silence, like, are we good?
That was alrighty. That should do it for me tonight. Thank you so much for answering all the questions that I had this week. I'm really looking forward to the new sets here and everything like that. I thought I'd sort of wane in interest in keeping, collecting in new sets and everything like that. But now that they surprised me with gaining another property and everything like that, it's like, okay, here, WizKids, here's my $100. Sure, I'll buy another case off of you, or at least another booster. So,
well, on the plus side, it's very likely that this set's going to be a gravity feed set. So, or the pro wrestling's going to be gravity feed, which. Awesome, because pro wrestlers make sense in singles. You know what I mean? So, but Mike, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Really appreciate your long time support through our Patreon at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. You too can join this show by joining us at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Any valuation gets you access to this, as well as our patron Discord, which is just an online chat forum that we kind of chit-chat every so often on. And I promise I put notifications back on as soon as I'm done streaming so that we can catch everybody's conversations. I keep putting on streamer mode, which turns off the notifications. So I'm going to disable that and make sure we get notifications back on that. It also, you can get early access to recorded content that, like, not this show wouldn't be early access, or Into the Mind of HeroClix Madness wouldn't be, but Metafix and Dial It Up would be shows that you could get via that. So check us out, patreon.com/marriedwithclicks, or throw in a super chat while we're doing these live. We do appreciate any kind of support that we can get through the channel. It helps us keep the channel live. It helps keep Amber editing and all kinds of awesome stuff. As well, we do want to remind everybody that we do have a Google Docs form set up for our Move and Attack show. We're going to Days of Future Past this week, and as a result, we're going to need to film some stuff. Unfortunately, our last Days of Future Past episode got annihilated. It got eaten because how do I put this?
My computer died.
Amber's computer died. but it died to make us a better one. So we're sitting at 3 monitors. We're sitting in more RAM. We're sitting on a slightly better graphics card, which will be the next thing we plan on updating on the computer so we can edit faster. I can't do anything about Adobe stability. That's their problem, not ours.
The amount of times Adobe has crashed on me.
But all the support helps. Get into the $10 range, and you get access to action tokens, which I actually think I have to put in an order for this month.
Yes.
Right? July and August
Yep.
need tokens. So we're gonna be I gotta put in an order for that with Big Bully Games soon. And they do custom tokens for us, and they've been doing wonderful work for us in that regard. So once again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys appreciate just kind of watching us chit chat with those who help support us and just go on tangents in that direction. You know, you asked me a question going in this direction. I went there the long way around, kind of went here and then got there. Or actually, I go here, but then I'm like, but this place is cool. All right. Here's the McDonald's. But have you ever tried Five Guys? And you know what? Not just Five Guys, but the Shake Shack or I don't know. I don't know all the American burger places. I'm a terrible human being.
No, we're just not American.
We're just not American. I do need to visit American burger places more often, though, because there's apparently I'm going to get out of here, guys. I love you guys. I'm tangenting on exiting the show. This is how bad I am at tangenting. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks again, Mike. Let's show his beautiful face on the way out. Look at that. Wave goodbye to everybody.